Welcome to Whispers from the Hearth. This podcast is an invitation for elders to reclaim something that many have unconsciously surrendered, their voice. Not just their singing voice, but their expression, creativity, wisdom, grief, joy, and presence. Kimberly Rieli's work with voice, harp, and sound healing creates a beautiful opportunity to explore the elder voice as something sacred, essential, and profoundly needed in our world, most especially at this time. We're going to call this podcast today The Wild Soul Never Retires, Reclaiming the Elder Voice. So welcome to my co-host, Kathy Slatt, and welcome, Kimberly Rieli. It's a pleasure to get to interview you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for
Yay.
this conversation.
Yay. So here's my first question. I've got lots of good ones. Kimberly, your work is called Singing for Your Wild Soul. What is the wild soul and why does it matter so much, especially as we age?
Ah, so my business is called Singing for Your Soul, and my sound healing certification for women is called Singing for Your Wild Soul. And I called it that because the word wild has just filled me with excitement my whole life. I love that word. It turns me on, it gets me really revved up. And I think that wild is a reclamation of our connection with nature, with all that is. And we get societized into disconnecting from that wildish nature. And so over the past several years, that's been a big catch term is rewilding. And rewilding, I think, is getting back to that primal, visceral connection to all that is. It's what makes us stop and look at a sunset. It's what fills us with awe when we hear bird song. It's what connects us with each other. It's that knowing that we are part of all that is. And it's that desire to howl at the moon, right? To just let it all hang out, let our hair down, throw back and just howl, right? And that was part of what caused me to use that word, is this desire for us to let our voices out and free, which so many of us are afraid to do. So there are,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's many aspects to that word wild. And I actually had a really powerful psilocybin experience a number of years ago where I had a complete rewilding experience. It was like a wild animal was looking out of my body and seeing the world for the first time.
Wow.
It was absolutely wild. And I remember putting my hands on things and touching them and looking at them like, what is this place? And it was just, everything was fresh, everything was new. The blades of grass, the sides of my tent, the sunlight coming through the trees. It was just like completely new and wild. I wanted to just crawl around in the dirt and put it all over me and just be crazy. It was a profound experience of really getting to understand what that wildish nature means. And we can't just live in that state all the time. We wouldn't function. But it was a powerful remembrance for me. So I now viscerally feel that wildness in my body. And it's so healing. It's part of what we need to bring back in.
I mean, I love the idea of really thinking, being in the imaging of what you're saying, where you're literally thrown into that almost like this is the first moment you've ever been on Earth. And everything is so fresh and new and vibrant and the curiosity is so awakened. So just listening to you share it, it's like I was taken there. It was wonderful, and what a wonderful, wonderful experience for opening all of that up within you. Most especially the fact that you now work with the voice in such a deep way with so many and with sound. So yay. What was sound like in that moment? Do you remember that?
Yes, it was nonstop light language. I couldn't stop speaking light language. And I also remember sound of nature being so, it was like crystals moving everywhere, just beautiful geometric, prismatic, kaleidoscopic crystals of light and sound in this continuum that didn't end. Sound and light were just a continuum, and
Wow.
color. Yeah.
What a
And
what a
every
beautiful
little sound, I
person.
remember my body moving, right? Like this sort of continuum of the sound would move my body and come through me. It was it was all one. It was all one.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh my gosh, that's fabulous. So many people believe their creative life is behind them, especially elders. What have you witnessed that tells a different story?
Do we have time for a somewhat long story here?
Sure, sure. We totally do. Oh, yes. It's your
This
time more
is
than my
one
time.
uh this is one that requires a little bit of explanation, and I promise it's worth it for the readers or the listeners. Um, so, a number of years ago, I had a series of 3 nights of really profound dreams. The first night, my paternal grandmother appeared to me in the dream, and she was teaching about energy. Now, this was funny because she was Catholic as all get out. So to see her standing at a table handing out pamphlets, teaching people about energy was like, whoa, what? What's my grandma doing again? And she said to me telepathically, she didn't look at me, but she said to me, it's time we're going to begin working with you more fully.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was just a really powerful moment. And she looked exactly like herself. She looked
Wow.
exactly like my grandmother. So the next night, my maternal grandmother sent me a package. It floated down out of the sky. My husband and I were standing on the stairs of a stone castle in Scotland. And this package wrapped in black velvet and black satin floated out of the sky, and it was from her, and it was this patinaed wind chime,
Wow.
huge, and it was gorgeous. It was wrought iron with crystals in it, looked like a big jellyfish, and chocolate. She gave me chocolate, my favorite chocolates, and said, my love, eat chocolate now and again. It's okay. It's okay to indulge, right? Every goddess has to eat her chocolate. And and then I was in our backyard, and we had this beautiful tree that was blossoming, and I hung that wind chime in that tree. And the whole yard was filled with yard ornaments from my soul lineage.
Wow.
From all times in, Roman and Greek and Celtic and all these different
Wow.
time periods. And then I hung that in the tree, and then my grandmother showed me my soul lineage that just stretched so far back. And she said, we are ready. It is time. And I woke up sobbing from this dream because it was so beautiful. Well, then the next night, I had another dream. And in this dream, I was in a convention center. It was a business conference. And this guy said to me, you need to do this to make money. And I looked at him and I said, no, I'm going to do what I love now. And I turned and I walked out of that convention center, and there was a garden, but it was dead. Everything was dried up. And there was a huge pool in the garden, like 100 feet deep. And I went to the bottom of that pool. It was empty, and started guiding a group of people in overtone singing. Now, this was way before I started teaching people overtone singing. So I'm guiding people in overtone singing, and as we did it, our voices were echoing through the pool because it was many feet above our heads, and it brought back the water. And this huge wave came, and it was hundreds of feet above our heads, and we had to run out this door in the bottom of the pool before it crushed us. But that singing brought back water, which is life. It's the feminine, it's emotion, it's healing the garden, bringing life back to this garden. And it was the voice that did that. So that's how this all started. 2 weeks later, as I would fall asleep at night or as I would wake up in the morning in that theta state, that in between
Mhm.
place,
Mhm.
I kept finding myself in a cave dwelling. It was not a cave, it was like the mesa dwellings in Arizona
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and Colorado. It was one of those. I was in this room in one of those big mesa cave dwellings, and there were all these grandmothers, 12 of them. And I don't know how I knew them.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's cool.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so there were these 12. So my grandmothers had just ushered me into this healing, right? Of, okay, we're going to work with your lineage. And then I'm suddenly with these 12 indigenous grandmothers. And I'm lying on the floor every time, and they're all healing me with plants and herbs and
Wow.
song and energy and massage. And
Wow.
I'm laying there going, what is happening? And they I kept saying to them, let's go find other people. I'm okay. Let me help you. I'll help you go. We've got to go heal somebody else. I don't need this. And they looked at me and they said, you do not even realize how depleted you are.
Wow.
And they would push me back down and they said, we are not depleted. We are here to help you. Receive this now.
Wow.
And so their message was really about replenishing the yin energies, right? And so one morning I wake up, this has been going on for about a couple of weeks, and I wake up and I thought, who are these grandmothers? Does anybody else know about them? Am I making this up? What is going on? And I Googled 12 grandmothers,
I know. Yes, I knew somebody
right?
that used to know one of the 12 grandmothers. Yeah.
So you knew one of the 12 grandmothers?
But no, this guy that I dated way back when, he was like on friend to friend terms with one of the grandmothers.
They're amazing.
Hmm.
So it turns out that there are not only living grandmothers, right? The indigenous grandmothers, but there are stories of these 12 grandmothers returning energetically, like these indigenous grandmothers. There are Native American stories of them returning to help pave the way for the return of the divine feminine.
Yay.
And so I Googled it, and there was a book called A Call to Power, The Grandmothers Speak. It's by Sharon McErlane.
Whoa.
Sharon who McDaniel?
McErlane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. McErlane.
Okay.
Sharon McErlane. And it's all about the 12 grandmothers. So she had waking experiences similar to mine where the grandmothers were visiting her. And then she started learning how to shamanically journey and meet the grandmothers. And uh, so I read that book, and their message was all about replenishing yin energies. That's their message. We're so depleted because we've been so imbalanced with the patriarchy,
Wow.
and we need to replenish the feminine, the yin. And so I started to have a relationship with these grandmothers, and they told me that I would be writing an album of music. This is where we start. This is the backstory to get into your question, okay? So they told me that I would be writing an album of music, and it would be called Replenishing Yin.
Ah.
And as I started to look at the music that I'd written, which, by the way, I didn't think I was a songwriter. I didn't think I was gifted at that. And I didn't start writing music until I was well into my late 30s.
Wow.
Even though I was a trained musician, I also didn't start playing harp until well into my late 30s
Hmm.
when my husband brought the harp into my life, my now husband. And so there were some things that I started a little bit later in life that I didn't think I could do, but I was encouraged
I love
by
that.
different beings across the dimensions to do all of this. So the grandmothers, uh, they wrote one of the songs on the album with me. One
Wow.
day I felt them asking to
Wow.
write one of the songs, and they did. And then I started to realize that out of all the songs I'd written, I'd already written the album
Wow.
without realizing it. And there was only one more song called The Return of the Mother that needed to be written for the album. And so I got really excited because I thought, okay, well, now life is going to unfold and I'm going to get to record this album. And this was like 7 years ago. And nope, crickets, nothing happening. Life was hard. We were doing things. I wasn't able to record, blah, blah, blah. One of my deepest heartbreaks was that I didn't have an album recorded. And one day I said, grandmothers, what the heck? Where's this album? Like, hello. And then I jokingly said, I'm going to be a grandmother myself by the time this thing gets done. And you know what they did? They started laughing and dancing and singing. And they said, would that be so bad? At which point I realized that this was a different timeline than I was expecting. And that I probably was going to be a grandmother by the time this album got finished.
Mm.
And then I went through an early menopause and still in the midst of hot flashes. And now I'm realizing that I'm going to record this thing at some point, and I am going to be more in the vein of
The
crone,
elder. The elder.
grandmother, like I
Yes.
am, the elder. Yes.
Perfect.
And I'm realizing that the music I'm about to take on the road is meant to help inspire others
Yeah.
to keep going and
Yeah.
to be okay with our elderhood, that we don't have to rush the way we thought we did.
Right.
I don't have to be a 20-year-old gorgeous thing to go out there and matter and use my voice and sing and share the music. And that's the whole purpose of this album, is for us to replenish our yin energies, but also to find our voices
Mhm.
and share them, and have it be okay to do it later in life.
Right.
And that we can pick up skills. Like, I started playing harp later in life. And I think one of the things for us to recognize is we don't need to be virtuosos
Mhm.
for the art and creativity to matter, to be important. I am not a virtuosic harp player, but I bring a lot of magic through the harp. People love it. And I'm not like, like, I don't know how to do that, but I know how to play beautiful things. I'm learning how to do art now because my grandmother from beyond the grave, who was an artist, wouldn't stop bugging me about making art.
The
And
word
it
that
was
was coming through was harping. She wouldn't stop
harping
harping.
on me. Yes. She was
That's so
harping on
perfect.
me. And I kept saying, I don't have time. That's the big thing, right? Like, I don't have time for this. I'll do art when I'm 80, maybe. Like, maybe I'll have time when I retire. And she kept saying, no, do it now. And I started doing it in small moments.
Yay.
Now I have all these paintings, and I even sold some of the paintings when I
Cool.
was on tour unexpectedly. I never expected any of that. So I'm just sharing all of these different stories as hopeful inspiration that this is an ongoing thing,
For
and we are not
sure.
done because we reach a certain age. We're not like old and dried up. We have a lot more texture and wisdom to add, and we have this whole lifetime to continue adding skills and working with our creativity and trying new things.
Always learning and growing. I mean, it's such a beautiful seedling that's always in process. I had a nurse practitioner say to me that she felt like a lot of um, people really couldn't tap into their deepest healing that needed to be done until after they were 60 years old. And she said, I can't tell you why. You know, she just witnesses it because she's working with so many of the elderly population. And she just said it's just almost like the maturity isn't quite there until you reach a certain pinnacle. And then it's almost like the horizon really does open up. And it's so true. I mean, it's like I want to interview a historian to find out more about elders, like for her to see if she can witness through history the story of elders, like how many elders, did their work because of their age. When, where the lights turned on in a fashion that you can't even fathom because of where they were in their aging process.
I love that. And, I'm not there yet, but I can feel
Mhm.
that by the time I reach 60, there's going to be some stuff that
Mhm.
is ready.
Well, and look at everything you're compiling, when you add it together, it's like almost like an alphabet of just all the different things that are, or even my mosaics. It's just like, how things are coming together in that way to create our greatest creations.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
love it. So why do you believe the elder voice is needed more than ever?
Where do we start? One of the most common things that clients tell me when they come to me, at least my young things, when I get like 20 some year olds, they're worried that they're too old. They're
Wow.
already worried that
Wow.
they're too old. And of course, that makes me want to laugh because I'm like, I've lived twice your life and you are not done. Like, there's a lot more coming.
Wow.
But this society has literally brainwashed
Mhm.
us
Mhm.
into thinking that we don't matter after we're 20. Like,
Wow.
if
Oh,
we're not being
it's
rich,
really,
it's
wow.
bad that we're not, if we're not rich and famous, and that's like the pinnacle. You've got to be rich and famous. And I work with singing, so that's what everybody thinks. I've got to be Mariah Carey with this incredible voice, and I've got to be on The Voice, and I've got to suddenly get recording contracts, and that means I'm going to be set, right? Which, as we know, actually, it doesn't mean that at all.
Mhm.
But, um, you know, when I was 20 some, I also thought I was too old. And I also thought I knew a lot of things. If we think back when we're 20, we think we know stuff, right? we think we know. And then we go through life, and life goes through the process of humbling us and giving us experiences, heartbreak, love, you know, impossible to solve questions, just the deep things that we go through throughout our lives. And I look at them as adding interesting texture to the weaving of our lives, right? It's very one dimensional when we're 20, right? But as we get older, we start weaving in all these new textures and colors and patterns, and it's like trees. We look at a tree, we don't look at trees and we love the old gnarly trees, right? Like, aren't those the deepest, richest? And if we cut those open, they have the rings like no sapling has. And they're helping the infrastructure of the forest. They're taking care of the baby trees. They're tending the forest. They're home to animals and ecosystems. So gnarly trees are my guide. They're my soul guides and mentors, right? I love the old trees. So I think that we need the elder voice because the elder voice sees so much more
Been through
and
so many
knows.
passages, so many passages. And I really got to witness that. I've talked in other interviews with going through Helene because I was only on AM radio just to have somebody talking to me when I was, stuck in the house through that process. And it was just so cute to hear all these Appalachians come on with their twangs and their absolutely
Mhm.
fantastic humor and great storytelling. Like they were so full of liveliness. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get this elder voice heard. It's like it's too stagnant.
Yes, yes.
So throughout history, elders were often the storytellers, singers, wisdom keepers, and memory carriers. What do you think has been lost when elder voices have been marginalized?
Wisdom,
Mm.
straight up. It's wisdom. And when I think about how I felt with my grandmothers, our society is missing that.
I know.
It's missing that
No.
grandmother, grandfather. By the
That
way,
reverence.
yes, it's reverence, and I can't tell you how much my grandparents have taught me, both like in life before they all crossed over, but then in dream time. They've come to me in dreams that are so healing and so profound. And they've been able to come to me because I'm open to it and I invite them in. I ask them to come. And I think that's part of what society doesn't remember how to do is interact with our dreams in
One
a
of the things
healing.
that Kathy's doing is a whole book series, and she calls it Young Grannies. And
Ooh,
her
yeah.
dry sense of humor is beyond anything I've ever witnessed. Like I said, we need to do a TV series with this. I mean, her stories are so hysterical, but Young Grannies, what a great title.
Love
Well, and
that.
I'm blown away that when you brought up, I took a few notes in case you looked at me looking down. I was taking a few notes because I didn't realize anything about this 12 grandmother book or any of that. So I got a hit. I write fractal fairy tales, and I got a hit one day. And when I get it, I got to write right then. So I wrote about 12 ladies that come together and they all have their stories because they've all, my theory is a little different. It's like if you get to this age, you've already made a bunch of mistakes, but you made it. So let's help a few others not have the same mistakes.
I
But
love
yeah, so I've
that.
been taking notes as you're talking. This is an amazing experience for me to listen to you.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
And
And of course, you're writing fractal fairy tales, and you've got 12 ladies that get to.
don't you love the title though? Young
Yes,
Grannies.
young grannies and fractal fairy tales. That's incredible. And I just, wow. So tell me more about young grannies.
Well, there's right now, I'm more interested in listening to you, but it is just a hit. Actually, I'm going to start some little meetings, and it'll be for women of a certain vintage and anybody younger who wants to grow up and be like us. So it's going to have a lot of, what's the word I want to say? Working for the collective, and especially for our grandchildren.
And boy, do they need it, and they appreciate us. So, what unique medicine does an elder voice carry, Kimberly, that younger voices simply cannot?
Well, the word that keeps coming back to me is texture.
Ah, I love that.
I think as we get older, we get more texture.
Mhm.
I think we have more texture in the sound of our voices, just in the quality of sound that comes through us. We've got more texture on our bodies. Things get texturized.
Oh, that's funny.
Believe me, I'm noticing this. I'm like, what is even happening right now? It's a wild experience to go through it. And I think going back to your friend who says that we don't really get to the healing until we're 60, I think for me right now, I'm realizing, oh, this is going to be a process of me making peace with saying goodbye to my younger figure,
Mhm.
my younger appearance, my younger life. All of that is starting to fade quickly now that I'm on the other side. My estrogen is not doing the same things anymore. So I think I'm in mourning right
Mhm.
now
Mhm.
as I say
Definitely.
goodbye to the maiden and the mother and step more into this elder status. I'm 48, and so I'm sort of like teetering in that place. The fact that I got invited onto a podcast to talk about elders, I'm like, okay, this is getting real up in here. This is
This is
happening.
this is
Uh,
just like preparation H.
Love it, love it, love
oh
it.
my gosh, that's exactly what this is.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings, but I
Putting it
need
on.
you to speak in
No,
elder
I
voice. I just love that you bring my whole goal here in the last couple interviews is really to honor the importance of voice. There are so many people that and especially elders that shut down their voice. Although I also state that I believe an elder can be 7 years old. I
I
don't think that
love
it's
that.
that it's age defined because there's just been so many. Well, there are right now just these kids that you're just listening to and go, oh my gosh, who are you?
Yeah.
And so that's how I broach even the subject of elder. So, so in all honesty, I would call you an elder, and especially in the relationship to the voice, because you literally you've gone in more like your dreams into the depths, into the forest, into the trees, into the wild, of our voices. So, and there's just so much that isn't being explored that needs to be explored at this time. And I think there's so much that can be gained. So how does life experience change the sound and emotional depth of a person's voice? Have you witnessed that with your work?
Yeah. Oh, yes. So many years ago, I had a spiritual mentor. She was my first real spiritual guide, and she taught me about chakras and dreaming and Carl Jung. And, she was a wonderful guide for me. And she would send me tapes of our sessions. She would record it on one of those, tapes. And I remember listening back, and I was in my mid 20s, and I sounded so tinny and so timid and so disembodied when I heard myself talking on those recordings. And I remember telling her, I'm supposed to be a singer and I hate the sound of my voice. What is wrong with me? And she said, well, my experience is that as you age and as you deepen spiritually, the sound quality of your voice will change. It will deepen. And that has been so true. She was, well, actually, even though she wasn't a voice coach, she was one of my best voice teachers because she knew the deeper aspects of what was going on with voice. And so now, as I look back on those recordings, what I was hearing in my voice was basic, lack of experience in life, and also trauma. I was hearing trauma in the sound of my voice, and there was a lot of unresolved trauma that I was dealing with at that time. And I think as we go through the process of healing, that starts to leave. We start to sound different. The voice actually gets deeper as we get older. The larynx ossifies,
Ah,
so it actually changes the quality of the voice, and the voice does get lower. I can't hit the same high notes that I
oh,
did when I was
wow.
in
Okay.
my 20s and 30s.
I
I
didn't
have,
know that. Yeah.
yeah, your range lowers, but I can hit a lot lower notes now than I could back
So
then.
now we can be
Yes.
when we get older. I
Yes.
can't say that word anymore. It's been too long since I've said it.
You said it. We
ALTO.
can be altos.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's how you say it. Okay. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's fascinating. I love it. I mean, I just was at a July 4th function and heard this man speak that was probably in his late 60s. And I said, are you using your voice out there? Because and he goes, no, but people say to me all the time that I need to. Like he had such a carriage and such a depth to his voice. And it's like, come on.
Wow.
I know. I know. There's just so many. So many elders say, I can't sing or I used to sing. What do you say to someone who believes they've lost their voice? Have you come across that?
All the time.
Wow.
I say nonsense. Nonsense. Uh, no, you know, I had a client who came to me. He was in his 80s,
Oh, neat.
and I don't get many of those, right? I don't get many, is it octogenarians?
Mhm.
But he actually had very severe pulmonary fibrosis and a heart condition, and he was
Wow.
on oxygen 24/7, and he wanted to work on singing.
That's so cool.
Yes, and he said, so he had had a stroke and he was having a hard time swallowing. And he said, I just have a sneaking suspicion that working with voice might help me swallow better. It might help my breath capacity. It might help me be healthier. And so I said to him, look, I think you're probably right. And I have a sneaking suspicion this is true. I've never worked with someone in your situation. But if you're willing to try things out, let's do it. And so we worked together. He doubled his breath capacity.
Yay.
He was able to get vibrato. He was able to sing longer phrases. It gave him something to do because he was retired, and so he was one of my best students. He did all his exercises. He worked on it, and we didn't have very long together. We had a few months. I think we worked together over the summer. And then he started messaging me from the hospital because he was in and out of the hospital all the time. And he I remember he messaged me and he said, I'm going crazy here. I am so bored out of my mind. Can we do some voice work while I'm in the hospital?
I
And
love it.
so we got on Zoom because he'd been coming to my house, but we got on Zoom and we did voice
Yeah.
on Zoom. And then he messaged me. I remember it didn't make a lot of sense. And I could feel, I was like, I think he's going to cross. And he did. He crossed a couple days after I got his last voice,
What
or
a
his
great
last,
finish.
yeah. So uh, I just use that because that's maybe the best example I have of it's worth it. Oh, and it helped him swallow better. We made up
Yay.
we made up exercises because I have such an awareness of the throat, and so we just talked through what he was experiencing, and then I made up some exercises for him
I love it. I just
to
love that
help
he
him
got
swallow.
called to do that. I mean, that if there's just so, when you talk about being embodied, to me, that's somebody that is in their body because they can hear that guidance. And how cool to go ahead and be just like you with me with you when I took your class. I was like, all of a sudden it was like, okay, you're gonna take a voice class, and then here you show up literally like in an hour and with your class, and I was the first person that signed up, and it's like, oh my gosh, and it. Oh, I just love when we listen, when we hear, and just even that somebody like you is out there. There's not that many people out there really doing the education of the importance of the voice.
I think there's more and more out
Good.
there, but for a long time, I felt like I was really alone, kind
Mhm.
of a pioneer in this realm. Um, and I think voice is what's really coming online for a lot of
I
people.
do too. I do too. I love it. So how does sound help regulate the nervous system?
I
A
love this.
big
I love
question, I know.
all these questions, but I could literally talk for 10 hours on each of these. Um, okay, so we have the vagus nerve. A lot of people know about it now.
Mhm.
It's getting a lot of
I agree.
attention. Yeah, it's more, it's less niche now and more mainstream. So the vagus nerve is moving from the brain stem down into the body, and it actually moves through the ears and the jaw and the throat and the chest and the heart and through the diaphragm and down into through the digestive tract and into the reproductive system. So it is sending information back and forth between the body and the brain, and
Mhm.
the brain to the body, about our autonomic nervous system functions. So, breathing, heart rate, pleasure, emotion, all that stuff is in this two-way dialogue between the body and the brain through the vagus nerve. When we sing and hold out pitches, we're massaging that
Mm.
vagus nerve from through the throat because it moves right through the vocal cords, so it's getting a nice massage when the vocal cords move. In fact, if you want to just put your hand on your throat gently and just go ah, and you feel all that
Kathy,
vibration.
you doing it?
I do that every morning.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
because you know what's up.
No, no, but I do that.
That's awesome. That's a brilliant thing because you're
Hmm.
massaging, but you're not just massaging it here. You actually have vibration
Hmm.
happening all through you can actually feel vibration into the pelvic floor if
Yeah.
you get attuned enough.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
you're vibrating that entire vagus nerve. When you do that, you're telling it we're safe, we're calm, life is good. And so we're training that vagus nerve to be more peaceful, balanced, and equanimous
Cool.
when we make sound. So, what we know is that people who do practices like toning, chanting, Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, movement practices, somatic healing, all of that strengthens and tones the vagus nerve.
I love
So,
it.
that's one of the main ways that singing supports that.
So what happens physically then and emotionally when we allow ourselves to sing? That's kind of what you're talking about, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so good for us cardiovascularly.
Mm.
Like the breathing, it syncs up people's heart rates. Our
Oh,
hearts, when we are listening to music that has the same
100%.
rhythm, our heart rates sync up, our breath rates sync up, and it produces this cascade of positive chemicals and hormones: oxytocin, serotonin, melatonin, all of these things that help regulate us and tell us we're safe, we're good, we feel better. So when we're doing that on a regular basis, we're retraining the brain and the body. So when we have a society of people that have been separated from their voices and think they have no business singing, which is 90% of my clients who come to me, and 90% of people that I ever talk to think they can't sing and have no business doing it, and they don't even like the sound of their speaking voice. That's a problematic epidemic because we're not using our voice
Right.
the way that Indigenous people used to sing and dance ourselves into better states of being on a regular basis.
Yeah, I know somebody that just went to a powwow for July 4th, took her grandkids.
Yeah.
So what changes naturally occur in the voice as we age? You talked about them getting deeper. How can we work with those changes rather than resist them? Can you give us an example of like the overtone?
Oh,
Been doing it.
uh, yeah. So uh, overtones are something that pretty much anyone can do. It does take a little bit of practice, but so overtones are they require a little bit of explanation. But how I'll explain them is they're like your beautiful mandala work behind you, Annie. If we just look at those, that's what I see morphing constantly when I hear music, especially overtones.
Wow, that
It's
crisp.
morphing at the quantum and the collect, I
Oh,
think
cool.
if we talk about sound, it's fractal
Mhm,
and holographic. And so it's affecting as above, so below. It's
mhm,
affecting the quantum at the smallest level, but it's moving through all the levels clear into
mhm,
the
mhm.
bigger, vaster, grander cosmic level. And I see these mandala patterns reshaping. Okay, so if you think of overtones are like that, they're like these beautiful
Wow.
kaleidoscopic
Almost
fractal.
like almost the picture I get when you describe that is like a kaleidoscope.
Yes, exactly. It's like you're
Cool.
moving this kaleidoscope,
Cool.
and I can see the geometries, the sacred
Oh,
geometries
how
and
beautiful.
colors, and
Oh,
it's
that's
it's
so
color,
cool.
light, sound, frequency, all of it is
I love
all
it.
together, like that dream we were talking about when I was on the psilocybin, like
Yeah.
that experience of
Yeah.
everything being one. So overtones are where you're harmonizing with yourself. You're popping up what's naturally in the field, which is overtones and
Oh, I
undertones.
like that. Harmonizing with yourself.
Yeah. So when you hear one pitch, like ah, that's a fundamental frequency. That pitch is, I don't know, whatever that is, a middle C or whatever. I don't have perfect pitch. But that is one note, but it's also got all these other notes in it. We just
Cool.
don't know how to hear. And so when we do overtones, we pop those notes up. So the way I teach it is Marie. You just say
I
the
love
word
that.
Marie, okay? And Marie, first of all, we got to go back to something, which is Mary means priestess.
Ah,
And I love that we use the sound Marie to make overtones because it feels very sacred to me.
cool.
Uh, so also mama, ma, those are really nervous system regulating sounds. And if you think about babies, ma, 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 ma,
Yeah.
almost all babies,
Oh,
that's one of
cool.
their first sounds. And
Yeah.
ma, mama, or mother, ma, some version of that is across the globe. In all languages, we tend to have that ma mère, like that
Yeah.
sound is the meaning of mother,
I
right?
love it.
Anyway, there's so many directions I could go with this, but Murray, if you just say that slowly,
I love it.
and you move between those sounds, you'll start overtone singing. And that's what I was just doing. So I'll do it a little bit higher. What you can be listening for the listeners, is the higher pitches, that this is the flute like sounds that come. So that's overtone
I
singing.
love it. I haven't ever done it higher like that. I love
Mm-mm.
it. I love it.
Higher
I
is
can
really
I
fun.
can feel and not see, but more feel
Yeah,
vastness of it.
yeah.
like that just sort
Yeah.
of spreads
So
out.
that
So,
didn't exactly answer your question, but
well, yeah, it did. It
it
was
answered your question about overtones.
well, and also just really, another thing that elders can do, because my next question is, are there exercises elders can do to maintain vocal strength and vitality? And that's just
Yeah.
the way that you described it and explained it with the Marie and also the ma mère, and that's great. I love.
Madre, like you name it. There's all kinds of, I need to like get a list of all the different ways to say mother in different languages.
I would love to see you just giving unsolicited advice here, put together some kind of an elder course.
I probably will at some point once I feel that I have any business talking about it, you know, from a physical standpoint. I think I'm still, but yes, I love that. I would love to
Well,
do
I
it all.
mean, I have a feeling it'll come, but it's yeah. So
Yeah.
can singing support memory, breathing, and overall health?
Well, I want to back up really quickly
Okay.
and just say one of the other exercises that I really recommend, and this is something that I prefer to teach people. There's breath to support the sound so that you don't hurt yourself. But one of the most important exercises I think we can be doing for our voices is shouting
Oh,
on a regular basis.
wow. Well, I do that quite a bit. It's usually at the
Good.
it's usually at the computer, but
Yes. I feel you
I
there.
said to my computer.
Yeah, shouting is so good for the voice. And no matter what people come to me for, that is one of the first things I teach people
I
because
love it.
it's like strength training for the voice. And if we don't use it, we lose it. And so as we age, it's more and more important that we're strengthening the voice and creating flexibility. So definitely shouting, but you have to be breathing properly to support the sound so you don't hurt yourself.
Gotcha.
That's the most important thing to know.
So that was that kind of how important is breath to the health of the voice and the body, then it's key.
Well, yeah, it's that. And yes, yes,
Do you do breath work as part of your daily regimen?
I do.
Mm.
Yes, I do breath work and EFT
Oh, cool.
most days and yoga or some combination, depending on how much time I have.
Right.
But yes, I think breath work is incredibly
I
important.
used to do breath work, but I can't remember the routine I used to do. And I might have to reconnect to the person that taught me this really beautiful. It was like 20 minutes worth of breath work.
Oh, yeah.
The process.
Yeah. There are a lot of channels on YouTube and some, I would trust more than others, but I really like Breathe with Sandy.
Okay.
Sandy. He has a channel on YouTube.
Oh,
And
good.
he's got, 10, 15 minute, 20-minute breath work practices
Awesome.
for different purposes. And I love those practices. And he's got great music that he creates for the practices.
Oh, good. Oh, yay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
So you've worked with the harp and sound bass. What have you observed about the healing power of vibration?
Oh, where do we begin on this one? That makes me want to cry. We are vibration. We are. And so I don't think we can underestimate. I think we do all the time underestimate the healing power of vibration. But I've just had so many powerful experiences. Wouldn't even know where to start. Just a few days ago, I had a client here and we did a sound journey for her, and she couldn't talk for a good 5 or 10 minutes after. Like she sat up and she was just like, it hit her so deeply. She just needed some time to cry and process. And that just happens all the time. It's just the sound goes in and it does stuff that you cannot put words to. And her grandmother's visitor, she had it was just like this wild journey that she'd experienced. I've had sound help me with Kundalini. So I had a woman who had a Kundalini crisis at a festival that I was at, and she was in my booth, and she had a broken collarbone and her arm kept jerking above her head because the Kundalini was like jerking her body. And I'd never been with somebody who was in Kundalini. I would call it Kundalini crisis. And I think a lot of people are inappropriately awakening their Kundalini right now. It's not good. And so she was crying out in pain. And I remember thinking, in a split second, like, what do I do? If I use sound, is it going to make it worse? Is it going to like kick it up even more? That was my fear. And I thought, do I need to run and go find another practitioner who might know how to work with this? It's all going through my head and so quickly. And then I just saw my guides, and they were, of course, sitting there calmly as always. And they said, they were just like, you know how to do this. Good. And I grabbed my low crystal bowl, I put it at her feet, and I started playing it and singing light language just intuitively. And she stabilized. I just had her lie down, and then she stabilized. And then I had this strong desire to sing into her body, which is I sing overtones into people's bodies, which gets me quite a reputation because most people have never heard of such a thing. And I felt very strongly called to sing into her solar plexus. And so I went over and I asked her, is it okay if I sing into your solar plexus? And she said yes. And she's, crying and still kind of trembling and going through a very intense experience. And I get down there and I start doing that, like literally just, and she convulsed.
Wow.
And smacked me in the face and knocked me backwards.
Wow.
So there could be hazards to the job. So I got the strong keep going. And so I was like, I'm going to keep going. And so I kept going and she stabilized.
Wow.
And then I went and I sang into her collarbone and did light language and Reiki and energy. And she was comatose. Like she just was out. And then when she finally sat up, again, cried, and we just hugged, and both were just beyond understanding what had just happened. It was so powerful. But the sound really helped with it. And my sense is that sound helps to ground the Kundalini. I think when we prematurely awaken it, what I feel, and I don't know for sure, I'm not a Kundalini practitioner, I'm not like well trained in this, but I have experienced several times of helping people through a Kundalini crisis. And my feeling is that it's skipping the first two chakras or three chakras because so the Kundalini is supposed to weave around each chakra, figure eights. We've got the Ida and Pingala Nadi, and they figure eight around each chakra. But I think, this is my hypothesis, is that perhaps because so many of us are so traumatized around safety, sensuality, creativity, our own will, that root and second chakra situation, that it's skipping and it's jumping up to the more chakras. And I don't know how that works, but if you think of a house that isn't grounded, that energy's fritzing up and then it's causing all these convulsions and, uncomfortable.
The super vibration of the building, really. The upper. Yeah.
Yeah. And the sound helps ground it.
I had never looked at the fact that people are skipping those lower chakras. It makes so much sense because everybody's so freaking blocked in those lower chakras from all the trauma that we've all been through as a species.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So what role does silence and listening play in finding our voice?
Well, I want to weave in a couple more things because I know I talked about some very specific ways that voice and vibration help heal, but it can be much more subtle than the two things I mentioned. It can also just really help people move emotion through the body. I even had a woman who got edema after her sound healing. She said, I felt like all this anger was just collecting into the water.
Wow.
And then I was just peeing it out over the next several days. Her legs got really swollen and then it just went away.
Wow.
So sound also is wonderful at helping with pain. So that woman who who had the broken collarbone and the Kundalini, she when she sat up, she said, I can't even feel my collarbone. It doesn't hurt. So sound travels the same pathways as pain. And that's why music therapists use it for pain relief for people. So there's many, many, many different aspects of how sound helps us be healthier. But silence is where everything integrates. Right. And so when we do sounding practices, part of the practice is the silence on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we think about those beautiful mandala patterns, that sound is it's making, if you think about our lives as being mandalas, which I think they are at a quantum level, and when we get traumatized, those mandalas get broken and scattered, right? Like the energy is all, it's all there, but it's all messed up and janky.
And rips and tears I'm seeing when you say that too.
What did you say?
Rips and tears.
Yeah, rips, tears, disintegration. That's my overall word for it. And that disintegration, when we start singing and bringing intention and love into the space, sounding, it doesn't have to be singing, sounding, we create more beauty and coherence. We start reshaping it into those beautiful mandala patterns. And each note is a different fractal, kaleidoscopic, sacred geometric pattern. So when we sit in silence, those patterns get to integrate and settle in these new beautiful patterns. So sound is also really beautiful at helping us clear trauma, move it in a way that other stuff just doesn't.
Well, I'm starting to hear all of a sudden in the last week, or maybe I'm just coming across it because it's related to something I need to be doing, is I'm actually hearing about people spending like an entire weekend in silence. I mean, I think we all want it. You know, we crave it because we're so immersed in these freaking computers. And yeah.
You know, it's funny because I'm a singer, I'm a musician, and people often think that I must listen to music all the time. I almost never listen to music unless I'm making my own. And the reason is that I hear music. And I don't want to cover up the music of nature that I'm hearing all around me.
It's almost like a telepathic music then.
Yes, you learn how to hear.
I love it.
As music, it's like the sonic sparkle that you start to hear once you can hear overtones and so it's not that I don't love music, but music is just an imitation of the music of creation itself. And so I find that if I listen to music, I have to be very present. I can't just often have it on in the background because
you must be so auditory too.
I'm pretty auditory.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm more kinesthetic. Kathy, what are you?
You know, I would say auditory.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why like I can walk out of a movie and people ask me what it's about and I can't tell them. So bad. So what has the harp taught you about life, beauty, and presence? And then maybe let's take a break for a second and have you sing a song with the harp with this question. Yeah.
Okay.
Life, beauty, and presence. What has the harp taught you?
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, you know what? Before we talk about that, can we take a quick bathroom break? Okay.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and have you. So my question to you was, what has the harp taught you about life, beauty, and presence?
Oh, this is such a great question. And she's taught me so much. So one of the first things was my husband bringing the harp to me and saying, I think you would sound amazing singing with the harp. I think you should try this. And I had to get through a lot of blocks because as a classically trained musician, my brain went to, I'm never going to be a virtuoso. I'm starting this way too late in life. My fingers aren't even going to know how to do it. I can't do this, right? Like that's where my brain went. And my husband just really encouraged me to keep trying it. So as I've gotten to hold her and just have the harp is so sensual and just the vibration against my body it's incredible. And also my harp, this is new. I've had her for about a year. When she came out of the box, completely unexpectedly, I heard, hello, my name is Alia Grace.
Oh.
So this is Alia Grace. And that was the first time that something besides a tree or a stick or something from nature had spoken to me. But she has a very specific name. And then later, I realized that So Alia is spelled Helia, and it's Greek for sun, ray of sun, right? Like Helios, the sun god. And I didn't know that when she told me that. I just heard her name, and I had to look up how to spell it and everything. But Alia Grace is actually, it's wild because in my birth chart, my sun, my moon, and my Mercury are all right together in Pisces, and my Venus, my sun, moon, Mercury, Venus,
Wow.
all right together in Pisces. And beauty is incredibly important. The sun, all of that is within her name.
I love it. That's so cool.
So I've been learning that nature can communicate with us in such profound ways, and that instruments can have straight up consciousness. And so as I've worked with her, I feel like she's healing me and teaching me. And harp is often considered one of the most healing instruments.
Oh, I would so believe it.
Right. Yeah.
They're so feminine.
It is. And people just hear it and they're like, it just blows them away. They just think it's absolutely incredible. So do I. I can't believe I play harp. But one of the new therapies that I do is I have people lay back against the harp and
wow.
the vibration of the harp.
Great. Yay.
So this is Alia, everyone.
So you want to go ahead and play something for us and sing?
Sure.
Great.
So I was trying to think of a song that fit the theme of elders, and this doesn't exactly fit the theme, but it's the closest I could come as far as songs I've written. So this is called Dance of the Elements. You all are welcome to sing it with me. And it's really about us being one with everything. So the lyrics are sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. And that's the first stanza. And then the second is water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days.
Oh, I love it. Yay.
Feel free to sing with me.
Oh, there's no way. I already forgot the word.
That's okay.
Not auditory. I told you.
It's okay.
But I'll get the sensing.
Yes.
I'm such a good kinesthetic person.
Yes. And I need to make sure I've got my original sound. Okay, perfect. Yeah, but listeners, as you can play it again and join in as you feel like you know it. Sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. Sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. Water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days. Sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. Sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. Water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days. Water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days. days. Water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days. Sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. Sky above me, earth below me, fire within me. Water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days. Water flows through me, wise in its ways. This is the dance of all days. This is the dance of all days. This is the dance of all days.
Mm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was like, I one of the questions I'd had coming up was, can the voice become a form of prayer? And I think that was definitely a form of prayer. Like I feel so, because I'd asked you about the harp of presence, and it does bring me really into my present moment. Like it was, I mean, I could feel it throughout my body. So I love, oh, I love harps. I just love them.
I know.
Let's see. Do you believe the soul itself ages after you did that beautiful share?
Mhm.
You believe the soul ages? I
I
think,
don't know the answer to that.
I think that's such a
I
good
think
question.
it's quite a question. I mean, I don't know that we can know that, and I know that time isn't supposed to be a thing, so maybe technically it can't age, but I certainly think that it gathers experience, and so
Mhm.
again, I think it gathers texture. So
I love
maybe
it.
that's aging, right? Like more colors and sound and fractals woven into the tapestry of the soul. Maybe that's what aging
Yeah,
is.
instead of even the word aging, because I think aging
Yeah.
has such a different connotation. So I love
Mhm.
that it texturizes and with more depth, maybe. Yeah, I like that for sure. So what do you think it means to live wildly and creatively in the later chapters of life?
Well, I'm embarking on figuring that out myself.
I'm so happy for you, though. I can't wait. I can't wait till you're on the other side of this because there's so much growth that takes place.
Yeah, I think I'm in that grieving process, but I'm feeling this fierceness
Yes, and that
and
creativity just is
yes,
budding
this surge.
in such a more expanded. It's like a rose opening up, really.
Yeah, it feels that way. I feel like I'm just beginning that phase of the journey, and I think I need to rest up a little bit and kind of get a grip because it's been a kind of rough few years. But I feel like I'm rewriting my entire life right now, and I'm so excited about it because I
Yeah.
know myself so much better. I just got off of touring for a year, which was my dream come true to be a singer traveling with a sound healing group. In fact, I wrote that as one of my manifestations many years ago that I
Yay.
was getting to travel with an ensemble, and I did it. And I could have kept doing it, but I found out that that was my body's was not on board with that.
Uh,
It was so hard. The life of a traveling musician is incredibly hard.
oh, I
For
would
those
think
who don't know
so.
anything about it, it is It is more than you can even fathom. And
Well, all
I
the different energies and vibrations and frequencies that you're going in and out of.
It's not, I mean, it's that, but it's also the logistics of
Ah,
having to drive. I mean, we were in a van, we were bouncing around for hours a day, going from location to location because we were on tour, and we were never alone. So there were three of us together in the van at all times. There was a cat with us, which was wonderful sometimes. And when his litter box smelled, it was not
oh
wonderful.
my gosh,
Um,
funny.
and it was a 2 hour setup for the show, and we did everything
Wow.
ourselves. And then it was a 2 hour show, and I was often singing without warming up, like I just did, which is not fun, by the way, when you're too busy and you don't have time to warm your voice up, and then it doesn't work because you haven't warmed it up. It makes a huge difference to warm up your voice. So I was singing shows in front of all these people without warming my voice up,
Oh,
without feeling
wow.
embodied, completely sleep deprived. I mean, we were sometimes getting 4 hours of sleep a night, and I was leading
Wow.
my sound healing certification, and then we were doing a show, and then a 2 hour breakdown, and then sleeping in yoga studios or random people's homes or wherever.
Gosh.
And it was just that plus menopause and ADHD for me was a recipe for disaster. It wrecked
Mm.
me. And so
Wow.
I had to say no and not continue to sing. They called me and they were like, "Here's our fall tour dates," and I thought this was my new life, and I was getting ready to say yes, and my body spoke up and she said, "Hell no, you will not be doing that." So I sadly had to say no, but I now know myself so much better, and so now I'm creating life to work for me.
I
You
love
know,
it.
and so I'm very excited about it, and I'm learning to paint, and my paintings work with
Yes.
sound and color and light. And so they're helping me explain things to people and show, and they're so like me getting to do a different modality has been so powerful. It's like you making your mandala art, right? It's We have to make art. We all do.
Yeah,
Like,
I do. I
do
agree. I
it.
agree.
We have to be doing that, and it's not about perfect art. It's about learning new things and
Well, and I
giving
also
back.
like the
And
part of it that's also at least what I'm getting called into now is more community.
yes,
We
love
because it's
that.
just so fun. It's like almost like quilting circles. Like you when you bring people together, like we're going to do something with a mosaic that somebody's teaching us with a PVC pipe, and it's just so fun to get to sit down with other, especially women. There's not hardly ever a male that wants to do it, but and just commune in that way, and then be using our right brain creativity at the same time. I love it.
Yes,
Just love it.
I do too. I think we need to be gathering, and that's what women used to do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try and go through these a little faster because I've
Okay.
started more and it's getting later. What do you think happens when people sing together?
Well, we already talked about some of that. Our heart
Mhm.
rates sync up. We produce oxytocin, which is the trust and cuddle hormone.
Oh,
So when
cool.
you sing together, you you tend to have this connected feeling.
Hmm.
Anybody who's sung in a choir knows what I'm talking about. There's
Hmm.
just this feeling of, whoa, something just bigger than us just happened.
Hmm.
It's very powerful to weave your voice with other
I
voices.
love the word we.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's great.
super powerful.
So do you think singing circles and sound gatherings can become an important antidote to loneliness among elders?
Yes. Yes,
I
absolutely.
I have a dream with all my stuff with my elder work of an elder choir. I mean, I would love like a global
Yes.
elder choir.
I love that.
I
You
know.
know
It just feels
what
really right.
it does, and what I hope can happen is that holograms get to the point, or by location or whatever, we figure out where we can get together and do it, even if we're not physically
Oh, I
together,
love it.
in a way that we're not having to rely on computers in the same way. I think that would be
Hmm.
incredible.
Hmm. I agree. I think, well, I mean, we're definitely the telepathy is going to really be stepping up.
Yeah,
Um, Let me see. And we did cover a lot of this stuff, so we'll keep
we
going.
didn't. If there's a question that relates to the voices hologram, I would love to
I don't think I have one with that. Do
talk
you believe
about
our
that.
voices are connected to our purpose?
Yes, and I can connect it to the voices hologram. So I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory that our voices are holographic,
Mhm.
and that means they're fractal and geometric and coherent in nature, and a hologram carries the whole. within it, right? Like an acorn has the whole tree within it. The blueprint for it is there. And so I think our souls contain the blueprint. Our voices contain the blueprint of our souls. And the more embodied we become,
I like
the
that.
richer the voice becomes,
I
the
like
more it carries that healing and embodiment for others who might hear it.
And that's
So,
that key word that we keep coming back to in all of healing is there's so many people that have spent most of their lives outside their body. Their energy literally is outside and not in their body. And I believe with all the somatic work, and there's just so many neat things happening in the growth of the planet right now, that a lot more people are becoming more embodied. But I love again that we are bringing in the importance of the voice. Like even Sherry Edwards in the last interview said, I said, what would you most want to see? And she said, I would like to see the work I do with assessing the voice and being able to tell where the health imbalances are in the body to be part of when someone goes in for their physical to the doctor's office. They get lab work, they get the physical, and they get this done where they get to test their voice as the part of it. And I was like, hallelujah, I like that too.
and that's because the voice is holographic.
Yeah.
No, it's so funny because I just invited all the Singing for Your Wild Soul women into a group where we're now working with the voice as a hologram. That's our theory. We're testing it and playing with it. And I kid you not, I've never heard anybody else talk about the voice as holographic before. And the next day, I went on Instagram and heard Sherry Edwards on a different podcast that I was on with Natalie Brown, the Sounds Heal podcast. And Sherry was on there. And the first words out of her mouth in this reel were, "Our voices are holographic."
Oh,
It's just
yay.
like,
You
okay,
got
if
it
Sherry's talking,
echoed.
yeah, if Sherry's talking about it, we know that I'm onto something. So, yeah, I think our voices carry the whole tapestry,
Mhm.
and it is a very kinesthetic practice. So you've mentioned that you're very kinesthetic. The voice is kinesthetic. That's what it means to be embodied. We feel the voice more than listening, and that's our society has an imagination problem, right? We don't have an aging problem. I think we have an imagination,
I like that. I agree with that.
which is we're not connecting like, oh, aging is freaking awesome. We're just all afraid of it. But that is the same with singing. We're all thinking, oh, I'm not this singer, I'm not a professional singer, but we're not paying attention to how easy it is to sing simple songs and how important it is and how we can actually feel like how that brings us into our bodies somatically to feel the voice and all of the physicality and biological effects that it has.
I love it. Every single morning when I wake up, my guides speak to me through songs.
Oh, I
And they're
love
so
that.
funny. They're so funny because I'll hear a song and go, okay, I got it. That's like a good message conveyed. But it's just sometimes they're just so freaking humorous. It's like, oh, thank you. This was perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
I
I
get it.
love
I get
that.
it. I
Go
know.
guides.
So I think we've covered so many good things. People not stopping to express themselves anymore. I mean, I love that 80-year-old man came into you. And so how do we find the courage to sing our own song, especially later in life?
Oh,
Hopefully through an interview like this.
yeah, through connecting with each other, hopefully,
Mhm.
and building a community of supportive, like-minded, adventurous souls who aren't giving up,
Right.
and who want to keep living. There's okay. So when I do sound healings, and especially early on, there was this very, 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 very old, very wrinkled Native American woman who steps in to work with me.
Oh,
And she showed me how to work with sound because I was an untrained sound healer and I didn't have the money to get trained. And I had a mentor who was like, Kimberly, you don't need the money. You just need to do it because you're just born. She's like, you're one of those people that was born. This, you just know, you're going
innate,
to know what to do.
right.
She's like, you just need to start trying it. And she was so right. But, and she did teach me how to sing into people's bodies and all that stuff. But this Native American woman would show up and she taught
Wow.
me as I was doing sound, like as it was happening live in the moment, she would show me that you can break up stuck energy with really piercing sounds. And so sometimes I would make really crazy sounds during sound healings, but then once you break that up and clear it out, there were always lullabies. It was always like
I love putting
once
it
you
back into the heart.
you bring it back, you ground and
Yay.
soothe the body. And she taught me that. And I actually had a seer, a woman who I did a 15-minute sound journey on. And at the end of it, she said, "Who's the Native American woman working with you?"
Yay. Well, I felt
She
when you're
was there
telling me
too.
it, it feels like it's you.
Oh,
It
that
feels like
makes,
it's you,
I
almost like
mean,
a
ultimately,
shaman.
we're all each other, right? So I guess ultimately it is me, but I never really thought of it like
Yeah,
that.
it
That
definitely
makes
feels
me
like, I mean, when you were saying
teary.
it, I got that it was an aspect of you for sure.
Why did I never think of it like
I know. It's so
that?
perfect.
I was
Right,
always
because
thinking of
when you say holographic, what I also look at is multidimensional. I think
exactly.
like
It is.
someone said to me yesterday, no, you don't need to be working with, because I've been through such horrific trauma, and I definitely, there's no way I don't have alters. Although I heard somebody speaking from internal family systems work, the guy that designed all that, and he said, I think we're all fragmented. I think we're all multiple, and it makes sense if we're holographic and we're also um, compartmentalized in the way we are, and then the multidimensional part of it, all of it. Like, so we're back to the fractal fairy tales that Kathy was talking about, and the fractal work, and even what you see when you sing with all the beautiful designs that are right there in front of you.
And
So,
what you make with,
mhm,
what you're bringing through with your
mhm,
art.
mhm.
Yeah.
So what wisdom do you hope elders remember about their voices?
That they're holographic
Yeah.
and that they contain our soul blueprint
Mhm,
and they're the doorway. I think our voices are the doorway.
mhm,
They're not the whole picture.
mhm,
They're, I used to want to be a famous singer, and what I'm realizing as I look back is it wasn't the fame that I
right.
wanted. It was the
Mhm,
lifestyle I thought it would give me,
mhm,
which I've now created for myself in my own
mhm.
way, right? And it was the ability to be in connection with nature, to live in nature, to take good care of myself, to have rich relationships and a rich life. And um, my voice has absolutely been the doorway to that. It's
I
my inner
love
voice
that.
that has guided me on how to create that and what I actually was wanting to create. And it was my inner voice that, you know, helped me take all the steps all along the way.
And that's such a fierceness, when we look at the level of courage, and perseverance and due diligence, and moving through those edges when we don't want to. And it's like I've had somebody tell me, a healer, when you most don't want to do something is when you most need to do something. And I'm like,
Girl.
no, I know.
Tell me about it. Yes.
So what does your own wild soul most want to sing into the world?
Ah, so many things. But, I second Sherry. I want people using their voices diagnostically,
Mhm.
and I want people using their voices daily to regulate themselves, like
Mhm.
chanting and singing and toning and, in the shower, like Kathy said, she does it every morning in the
I
shower.
know.
That's what I want. That's what I want my soul to sing that remembrance into the world
I
for.
love it. That's great,
Yeah.
great, great.
And I also want to say I would love to have the Replenishing Yin recorded at some point. I would love my
Oh,
music to be in the world in a finished recorded way, and my concerts, because I want to share these stories
yeah.
and weave them with music and get
Oh my
people
gosh,
singing
that'd be so
with me.
great.
Yeah.
Like, I
So
almost feel like a documentary would be neat to have you bring in the harp, because your voice, just your voice, your speaking voice is just so almost velvety. So if
mm,
you have that and the singing and everything, and also the 12 grandmothers, we go back to that, when we look at the weaving and the tapestry, those are some, like, tapestry is one of my most favorite words. And of course, mosaics, because I think we're all mosaics and all pieces that come together in the whole. Yeah, it would be lovely to see you get to do something like that. So if an elder listening today has quietly believed that their time has passed, that their voice no longer matters, or that they have little left to contribute, what would you lovingly say to them?
I would say tune in and listen to your heart and see if that really feels true. Because I think if you listen within, you'll know it's not true at all.
And go into even that silence and contemplation.
Yes. Yes.
Yay. So almost even like speaking to your heart, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so the irreplaceable elder project is part of what we're working with now with our Whispers from the Hearth work. And underneath singing is a much deeper truth. Hence, we have brought forth the Irreplaceable Elder Project. The elder voice is not meant to grow quieter. It is meant to grow wiser, freer, and more beautiful. And perhaps one of the greatest tragedies of our time is not that the elders are aging, but that so many have forgotten they still have a song to sing. Hear ye, hear ye. So I would love for you to share, and I know you're going to give it to me, and I'll add it to the underneath the interview too. What the name of your website, and if you want to share any kind of offerings. I know you do the voice lessons that are personal voice lessons if people want them. But yeah, the name of your website again.
So my website is Singing for Your Soul, and I'll send you the link to that so that you'll have that for people. And I have a number of different offerings. The first thing I would invite people to check out is my free voice class, and I'll give you the link for that. And that is an hour long. It's 3 20-minute videos broken up, and it covers a ton of different topics about the voice. Because the truth is, we can all develop our voices. It's just like exercise. We just, nobody's born with a bad voice. We just need to learn how to use them better. And most people are not taught that. So there's no shame in not knowing. But the way we use our voices directly affects people's bodies. Like if I talk like this all the time, you're going to have a different experience, right? Like, and I sound like I have a different personality. So the way that the kinds of sounds we make do matter, literally, like they physically affect the matter of the world. And so I encourage everybody, I think everybody should be doing voice work, period. So this is a great place to start. I offer a weekly newsletter. Once you join, get the class, it's very easy to unsubscribe if you want to, but you can also be part of the weekly Muse letter, I call it, where I talk about a lot of things around the voice. And then I do work with people one-on-one in a variety of ways. People are welcome to book a call with me and explore that. We can move you in the right direction. I do one-on-one sound healings, voice work, and voice healing on many different levels, including trauma. And I also have my Singing for Your Wild Soul sound healing certification, which you took. That's where we met. And I will probably be launching that again this fall.
Awesome.
So I usually launch it
Awesome.
once a
And
year.
I highly, highly recommend that to our viewers. Highly. It's such a good place to start. And it's also so good to do it in community. So
Yeah.
thank
And it's
you
our
so
sacred
much.
sisterhood. So I just want to say it's a sacred sisterhood of voice healing
Yes.
above a sound healing certification. It's more about healing the voice and then
Mhm.
learning how to help others do that.
And
Okay.
step up and share. I mean, it
Yes.
just being
Speaking
willing
and
to individually share and be comfortable with your authentic self is so healing for our voices. And that's I can say that's, I mean, as far as my guidance to go ahead and do it, it was the perfect choice at the perfect time. And I hope that that is what viewers are attracted to too, that this is an invitation, like I started out in the intro, for people to really tap into using their voice in all the myriad of ways that we have. I mean, it's our greatest gift. And it's perfect time for us to be bringing that forward. So bless you for being here today. This was perfect. I loved your singing with the harp, and I feel very, very grateful that we crossed paths and that this was a provision that is now out there for the elder population. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, Annie, and thank you for being in my life. I just love you. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you.